That's all I want to talk about is blockchain technology.
Don't try and compete with like days like Carnival and stuff like that.
Well, hey, maybe Carnival needs to be turned into NFTs, you know? I mean, we may be heading there, so.
Hey, that is actually a really good idea.
Don't drop the name. We'll beep it out. No, I'm just kidding. Hi, I'm Lisa and I head up Listnik and Cody Agency in Australia, and I'm joined by Diego.
Hey guys.
All the way from Brazil.
How's it going?
And welcome to the Superist podcast. On today's episode, we have the legendary John Kraski all the way from Los Angeles.
Thank you. It is a pleasure to be here. This is actually my second Australian podcast.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I was...
Don't drop the name. We'll beep it out. No, just kidding.
I think it's called... I want to say it was called the Imitation Podcast, but... yeah, I'm just excited. Obviously, there's a lot of demand in Australia here for NFTs, so it's super exciting to speak with you. And Lisa, you're awesome. I love corresponding with you on LinkedIn. Diego, we haven't really corresponded yet, but you're equally awesome. So just excited to be here and talk about NFTs.
Amazing. Yeah, it's actually incredible because, it's so weird to be able to meet people on the other side of the world and just build, a bit of a relationship with them around a similar or something that we're all passionate about, because we connected actually probably like 2 weeks ago on LinkedIn.
Yeah, it's wild. Like I was telling you before, it's so weird. I would say half of my friends now are because of LinkedIn and the NFT world. It's insane. That's what's the most exciting part about this whole thing, the community that's being built. It's fresh, it's organic, it's genuine, it's honest. I mean, that honestly, really just at a human level beyond the technology of NFTs, that's what's really exciting. The community that's being built, it's amazing.
The community loves talking about it as well, right? So it's like whenever you pull someone aside and they're like, oh, let's talk about NFT, crypto, blockchain, people are usually very excited to do so.
Well, yeah, neither of you attended, I don't think, NFT NYC, which was a couple of weeks ago. And that was just really sort of the first big super conference where everybody that had been corresponding on Twitter, LinkedIn, Telegram, Discord, finally got to meet each other in real life. So it was just such a festive atmosphere. It was wild. And there's going to be another conference coming up next week. Art Basel has sort of morphed into not only an art conference, but also an NFT crypto conference. So I'll be there as well. We can dive a little deeper into that shortly. But yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. And obviously we're going to need to do something similar like that in Brazil and Australia, right?
Oh, man. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
100%.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Just don't try and compete with like days like Carnival and stuff like that. But any time, you should probably, you have a good attendance.
Well, hey, maybe Carnival needs to be turned into NFTs, you know? I mean, we may be heading there.
Hey, that is actually a really good idea. That is actually a really good idea. It's very colorful. It's artistic. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah,
it's that's definitely a really good idea.
Yeah. So how did you two meet? Actually, I'm so curious.
So met in person, we haven't yet.
Wow.
But we through Superist with Lisa and I have been working on some stuff together, I'd say.
Yeah. So we're part of the same agency group, but yeah, it's actually crazy because I feel that there's not that many people in the world that even know what an NFT is. So if you actually find people who do, I think most likely they're going to be really passionate about it and want to talk to other people about it, because I'm really similar to you. Like I have just found this whole new network of people just because I got onto NFTs. And I think one thing that I thought was really interesting when we were having a chat is that you were saying that you only got into NFTs probably about 8 months ago. And I would say that you're easily considered a world-leading expert because there's just really not that much competition in the space at the moment because it's still so new.
Yeah, and you were very clear that you really wanted to dive deep into the technicality, the technical part of NFTs, right?
Yeah.
So we'll do that in a second.
Yeah, I was super clear about that. That's all I want to talk about is blockchain technology. So yeah, hit me with that first question. No, I am not that guy. But yeah, like Lisa said, it was crazy because 8 months ago, I didn't even know what an NFT was. And then all of a sudden now I'm like considered a thought leader, and it's completely transformed my life in ways unimaginable. I mean, it's insane. It's literally the best career I've ever had. It's the community. It allowed me to become the person I always wanted to become, personally and professionally. So I really do feel like NFTs are the great equalizer in society. And anybody that's not taking a look at NFTs, you're really doing yourself a disservice. The opportunities are endless, endless. If you're smart, you're motivated, you're passionate, if you don't like where you're at right now, look at NFTs as a way to change your life. I'm not even kidding you. It's like beyond the technology, it's just the community and the opportunity that's presented themselves right now. It's just, it's beyond ridiculous. So
That's insane. And how did you actually get into it?
yeah, how did I get into it? That's a fantastic question, and the answer is really luck. So I started my career in the world of public accounting. I worked for KPMG and Price Waterhouse, then I worked for JP Morgan.
Oh my God. We won't hold that against you. I actually also work for KPMG.
Yeah.
So, ooh, awkward.
Never enjoyed it at any point in my life. So then I decided to get my MBA in entertainment at USC because I was really trying to pivot out of that world. So I kind of went down that path. I worked for Disney. I worked for a Spanish communications company. I worked for Aaron Kaplan, who was like a very well-known TV producer in Hollywood. And then all of a sudden, it just like took this crazy detour where I ended up working as an executive in the luxury interior design space for almost a decade. I worked on the Obama White House, like projects like Cindy Crawford, Harrison Ford, George Clooney. And I did that for almost a decade, but I was like, this is not what I want to be doing. I mean, it sounds cool, but it just wasn't really what I enjoyed doing. So I started to like try to slowly like pivot out of that. I was like searching for an answer. I was like, why am I been working for almost 20 years and never been happy in my career? I was like, there has to be something that's like more fulfilling and really just draws on my natural energy. So started that process. Pandemic hit, which in a weird way was great for me because it kind of gave me a chance. The world slowed down. It gave me a chance to really work on myself, not only physically, but mentally. So I really started just taking a look at a bunch of different opportunities. I would say I applied to 1,000 jobs. I got 100 interviews, got rejected by 99. And then all of a sudden I got this opportunity to work for this opportunity to interview for NFT Genius. And I was like, wow, what is NFT Genius? I was like, I don't even know what an NFT is. So I listened to a couple of the podcasts that the founders were on to prep. And it was just such a natural, organic, fluid process because I started to realize this is the job that I actually wanted when I got my MBA in entertainment. It was about helping creators and brands properly monetize their creative assets. And that's really what the company was all about. Because NFTs are really a better way to monetize your digital assets and your creative assets. So it really spoke to me from a human level because giving creators the opportunity to better monetize their work, that just means that money is fuel. So the more money they're able to make, the more amazing art and creative assets they're able to make. So that's really what it spoke to me, on a human level. And obviously, the applications for NFTs go beyond creative assets. The applications can apply to supply chain, manufacturing, utility billing. Really, really boring, mundane stuff. But it's just such an exciting space, and the opportunities are endless. That's the crazy thing about NFTs. If somebody were to ask me to describe what an NFT is, it really is just a mini computer. You can program an NFT to be whatever you want it to be. So just don't limit yourself into thinking, it's like a cute little ape or penguin or CryptoPunk. Nah, an NFT is whatever you want it to be. Think of it as a mini computer, and you can program it however you want. So it's sort of the gateway to Web 3.0, and when you'll start seeing NFTs to give you access to video games, virtual concerts. It's crazy. It's your ticket into the metaverse. So
Yeah, I think that's the exciting thing. We've barely scratched the surface with the application of NFTs. Like because I think people still think it's just, pixel art, and that's, pretty much it. Can I ask you because I think a lot of people still think it's like a scam. So what do you have to say to people like that? Because obviously we're all on board the NFT train, but there's a lot of people who just don't believe in it.
Well, I think it goes back to what you said. The NFT 1.0 is sort of winding down. That was the pixelized images, the PFP projects, cute little animals and caricatures. So that was like driven by a lot of like crypto whales, the OGs, VC funds in Asia and Russia and around the world. So I would say NFT 1.0 was driven by just big money. It was a small number of wallets. I don't I don't think it was more than 10,000. I believe it was a really small group of people, and I mean, I probably money laundering was part of this. They were really kind of moving crypto assets into the NFT world and driving up the transaction volume. So I guess that point is valid on that level.
We've seen with art as well before, right?
Of course, because I mean these prices are just ridiculous. But it's obviously people are kind of moving assets from one class to another. But what's happening now, and when I see it in my world, because in case anybody knows, I'm director of strategic partnerships for NFT Genius, which is a Mark Cuban and Ashton Kutcher venture-backed entertainment studio, and we're building a marketplace called GAIA on the Flow blockchain. So we're focused on relationships with big brands in the TV, film, music, sports, and pop culture space. So I'm always having conversations with these brands, and what's happening now is like the bigger brands and the smarter money's getting the space. The Disneys, the Nikes, the Apples, they're starting to get in the space, and we're going to start to see more mass consumer adoption. So smarter minds are coming into the space, smarter money, and that just means you need to come up with smarter solutions. So the scam phase is sort of winding down, and now it's big money, big brands, big brains coming into space. So get ready. I mean, this is I'm not even joking. I would say in the last week, I've fielded inquiries just directly off LinkedIn from Facebook, Amazon Wireless Services, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley. I mean, the big dogs are now reaching out to me, wanting to know more. So it's only a matter of time. So yeah, I've had an 8-month lead on these people, but they're going to be catching up soon, because they're starting to circle NFTs, Web 3.0. They're interested, asking a lot of questions. So big opportunities though still. So jump in now.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. How would you say that, I think it's when I first started reading about NFTs and such, it was a little bit as a business owner, as someone that works with marketing as well. It was at the very beginning a little bit hard to grasp the concept of how that translate into like bottom line revenue for a company, right? Or added value, or how does that add brand equity or whatever it is. So what would you say is, in simple terms, why are these brands suddenly taking such interest in
I think it's a better way to engage your consumer base in a more meaningful manner. I mean, NFTs, for instance, like a good example is Netflix. A lot of times you'll just sign up for Netflix to stream your favorite show, right? And you watch your 13 episodes, and then you leave the ecosystem. But if you had purchased an NFT of your favorite show, and there was utility beyond that, you would be engaged more than just watching that show on a Netflix for a month and leaving the ecosystem. All of a sudden, you buy an NFT of Sex in the City or whatever, and you find, like, with the NFT, all of a sudden you're surrounded by a community of like-minded, like-spirited people that also love that show. And if there's ways, with that NFT that you get like behind-the-scenes access of them filming the show, or maybe like going visiting like some of the places where they film the show, or doing different experiences that kind of level up your fandom for that show, you're now all of a sudden engaged in that brand all the time, 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And all of a sudden you're developing a closer relationship with your customer. I think that's at the end of the day why big brands, it's an opportunity for them to really, really engage your consumers in a more meaningful and long-term manner. Because I think a good template that's in the marketplace now is VFriends, which Gary Vaynerchuk did. And it's a time and experience NFT model, which is super cool, because that NFT has real utility and attaches you to the brand, which really is Gary V. So with those NFTs, you get 3-year access to VCon, which is a super conference that Gary V puts on, and major celebrities are going to be there and personalities. And the only way you can go to the VCon is if you own the NFT. So right there, you have to have the NFT to get into this really special, unique experience. And then on top of that, he levels it up, because on top of that, with the NFT, there's other things like you can go bowling once a year with Gary V. You can do a Zoom with Gary V like once a quarter. These are really cool ways for you to engage in those brands, those celebrities and personalities you really love. And it just makes it more special. So I feel like there's missed opportunities, especially like streaming service, Spotify. I mean, Spotify, Apple Music. I mean, it's a dated model that doesn't create fandom. It doesn't create engagement. I like music, but there's certain artists that I can't really engage with them other than maybe I can just go see a concert once in a while if they come to town. If I'm lucky, like I just check, Ticketmaster, and all of a sudden I see that they're playing. But NFTs, there's this magnetic quality to create more magic with people and connecting them. Again, it goes back to community. I think NFTs it's a community driving tool. That's really, at the end of the day, if you're a brand, an artist, and you're looking to start an NFT collection, you should ask yourself, the first question should always be, what kind of community am I trying to build?
Yeah. That's, and when I think about it, and, correct me if I'm saying something incredibly stupid, but I always remember at the very beginning, in my time, Pokemon cards, right, were gigantic. And Pokemon cards had these aspects of like uniqueness, blah, blah, blah. Now there's a Charizard card that costs $1 million, for instance. Very few of them out there in the market, but they actually had its own utility. And rarity, and there was this community of trading and collecting and everything else. And then of course later on we had the Pokemon company coming up with Pokemon Go and such, where we had then finally AR come into play in our daily lives. And I always kind of like think of that when I think of what's just beginning now with NFTs. I always say, for instance, when I've always liked gaming so much, back then when Steam was first released as a marketplace, and people were then getting, say, like mods and different like skins and stuff. Fortnite does it, right? Fortnite has all sorts of events within its metaverse itself, right? And I see how these things are not as new as we think they are, and we've seen the concept before, but I think now it's just becoming more and more apparent with Facebook changing into Meta and everything else, and all these companies really making it clear that it is the next step for them to take into the digital transformation, integration.
Yeah. I mean, like I told you, I've literally had 2 Facebook executives reach out to me in the last few days. They want to talk. I don't know what they want to talk about, but they want to talk. So yeah, and then it's funny too. Morgan Stanley. I've had 2 people from Morgan Stanley reach out to me. One of them, they're starting an NFT hedge fund. So they're investing in blue chip premium NFTs, and you don't have to if you want to get in the game and,
insane.
Take part in some of those crazy gains, you don't even have to trade anymore. You can just put your money in a hedge fund by, big financial institution and reap the rewards. And then Morgan Stanley also wanted me to come and start training their employees. This is wild. Like I said, the big brands, the smart money, they're getting in. It's no joke now. There's 2022, there is going to be a big push. This thing has already been accelerating. It's going to accelerate even more now that smart money, smart minds are coming into space. So it's good you're in now. You're asking these questions. It's still not too early to get in, but I think if you wait 6 months, it'll be too late.
Yeah, it's actually interesting because I was listening to something about how Visa bought a CryptoPunk, which I thought was actually smart because that's part of their probably like. The podcast was saying that's part of their marketing budget, and usually safe use marketing budget, it just kind of goes out into the world and you never see a return, but they actually bought an asset and they got press for it. They've pretty much just said, we're going to go into NFTs, and now they sort of put themselves at the forefront of that next digital evolution, which I think is really smart. And then obviously Nike came out with Nikeverse. It's like actually a little bit crazy at the moment. But we know that you're working on some big projects with NFT Genius, which is such a good name for a company. Can you tell us a little bit about GAIA and how it's going to be different to what is currently on the market?
Yeah, so we're building a marketplace called GAIA, and it's on the Flow blockchain. Dapper Labs, it's the blockchain built by Dapper Labs, who's actually one of our investors. So we picked that obviously because we're one of the investors, but one of the other reasons we picked building on Flow is Flow allows for you to basically swipe your credit card and use fiat currency. So very seamless, very Web 2.0 familiar transaction, just like swiping your credit card on Amazon to buy a roll of toilet paper. Very just super easy. Also, the Flow blockchain very environmentally friendly. Another question that a lot of big brands are concerned with.
Yep.
So it really checks those two boxes. So GAIA, like I had mentioned before, is going to be focused on 5 key verticals: TV, film, music, sports, and pop culture. And it's going to have a combination of our own internally developed IP as well as third-party IP in all those verticals. We've had conversations with well over 100 brands and celebrities in all those key verticals. We just launched our first project on Flow called Ballers, which is it's an homage to NBA Top Shot, which is on Flow, and that was a wildly successful NFT project. I think it's done secondary sales of close to $1 billion. So we wanted to pay homage to NBA Top Shot and then also CryptoPunks. So we came up with a project called Ballers, which is sort of if CryptoPunks and NBA Top Shot had a baby. They're cute little pixelated basketball players. Has I want to say it has like third. I don't even know what the split is, but it's a combination of female and male pixelated characters. It sold out in 3 hours. We generated almost 2 million in sales.
Oh my God.
Secondary marketplace is not opened yet. That's because we got access to the Dapper wallet before basically anyone else in the world. So the Dapper wallet they're still working on integration for the secondary market, but it'll be very curious. It seems like the chatter on Twitter, Discord, social channels really strong for Ballers. People want to get involved in the secondary sales, and it's sort of it's a weird mindset, but one of the key things of moving from Web 2.0 to 3.0 that you need to consider is primary sales are great. 2 million, wow, woo woo. But really the magic sauce with NFTs is secondary sales. That's why if you look at CryptoSlam, which is probably one of the leading marketplaces to look at sales, they only show secondary sales because the utility of NFTs is getting the royalty in perpetuity. So those secondary sales, that's what really matters with an NFT. And secondary sales means community engagement. That means your fans are still engaging, interacting, and wanting to transact. So that's the key. That's why you always should start with community when you build an NFT project. If you just have, there's too many case studies of projects that have great primary sales and then the people just disappear. Literally, the founders even disappear and the community disappears. Well, then what's the point of the NFT? Then it doesn't need to be an NFT. It should have just been a digital image. So you really need to be smart and thoughtful about how you're going to build community long-term to really drive those secondary sales. So we're excited about Ballers. We believe that that's going to have tremendous secondary sales success. And then we've also created another project called Rebel Rabbits. That's on the Ethereum blockchain. It's a PFP project that pays homage to sort of some of the personalities in the whole crypto NFT world. It's fun. It's sort of a spin-off from Bitcoin Origins, which was actually our first project, which was on the Wax blockchain, and that was wildly successful. I think it's done over 5-6 million in sales. So we used that project to sort of test how to launch a successful NFT project, and we used all those learnings to apply to Rebel Rabbits, to Ballers. But now we're going to start focusing on developing some of those third-party IPs and all those key verticals. So there's going to be a bunch of stuff happening. We're talking to a lot of big music labels, big entertainment companies, professional sports leagues, different celebrities, and all those verticals as well. So a lot of exciting stuff coming online for NFT Genius. And we're just about to secure our next round of funding as well. So
You're so busy. You actually raise a really interesting point because the whole industry is still so new. So you almost really have to get your hands dirty to learn. So say, and this isn't financial advice, but say if someone was looking to get into the space, maybe buy some NFTs and do some trading, what are the top 3 things they should look for when they're assessing a project?
This is definitely a Charles question. He's the collector. I deal mostly with brands, and I think I do well in the space because I come from more of the just like Web 2.0 mindset and came in fresh, and so from what I know though, in terms of the projects, because I have some collector friends, I think it's the team involved there that there's a certain group of influencers and decision makers that sort of drive the success. So I think that's the first thing you really need to look at is that team, that core team that's involved. That seems to be that way that small world is working. So obviously if it was like an artist from Bored Ape Yacht Club or CryptoPunks, that would get you excited. I mean, it's it's almost like kind of evaluating a TV show or a movie, right? Like, oh, from the writer of Friends or Seinfeld, like, launching this new show, or it's that. I think that's kind of like how you have to evaluate it, just sort of the team. I think you have to look at it like very basic human level. And then I think too, like what I said before, I think you should be looking at the community they're trying to build. Is this a community that's like scalable? Does it excite you? I think you have to connect with it like on a really personal level. Like, oh, this is a community I'd want to be involved in, right? So I think there's going to be, like, right now, most of the communities that are like been created in terms of the individual projects, they're not really for me. So I mean, I think I'm a little too bougie. So I mean, once there's like a Soho House NFT drop, then I'll probably be really excited. But nothing against the Bored Ape guys, they're cool. But I think I probably want to level up my my community experience in the NFT world. And so community, the team behind it. And then, I guess you have to kind of look at the roadmap they have built out. What kind of utility is going to be driven from that? Is it just PFPs, cute little pictures, or is it going to go into like some type of metaverse experience where, there's video games and concerts and ticketing and whatever, you kind of have to look at that roadmap too. So, I mean, a lot of people just kind of lie and cheat their way. They're like, oh, we're going to have all this stuff as part of the roadmap. So it goes back to the team. Do you trust this team? Are they going to actually deliver what they're saying? So I think that's what I would look at as a individual collector. But like I said before, if you don't even want to deal with all that nonsense, then like look at one of these NFT hedge funds. Like Morgan Stanley starting one. There's a company here in Los Angeles called Wave Financial. They have a very successful NFT hedge fund. So if you want to get in the game, you want some of the action of ups and downs, I would say maybe go with a more proven financial institution. They hire really smart people that are kind of like going through the Discords and the Telegram and the Twitter, and they're really kind of grinding and figuring out what goes on, and they understand the levers of what it takes to have a successful project. So
it's so funny that that's now a job. That's someone's job to just be going through Twitter and Discord.
It's wild. So I started throwing these NFT thought leader gatherings here in Los Angeles. I did the first one in Los Angeles at Soho House maybe a month and a half ago, and 15 people showed up. But we were just trying it, seeing if like it was going to work. And one of the people from Wave Financial, I was like, this kid, like, he literally looked like a skateboarder, and he worked at a hedge fund. He was like a VP at a hedge fund. I'm just like, what is going on here? So yeah, again, it's a great equalizer. There's opportunities for anybody, no matter where you come from. I mean, it's a whole different game. And then, I threw another NFT thought leader dinner at NFT NYC. Like 60 people showed up. And then I sent out this post on Friday, and now I literally have people in probably 50 cities around the world that want to throw these gatherings where they want to connect. The appetite is beyond rabid. I mean, it's wild. It is wild.
That's amazing. I actually have one last question, if you don't mind. And it's actually, we're finally seeing this progression with blockchain, crypto, NFTs. What do you think, are the next applications to NFTs? What are you excited for that you're really looking forward that might not have happened yet, or it's not going to happen in the next 1 or 2 years or 3 or 5, I don't know. But it's something that it's the full potential of NFTs, and it's actually the reason why people should be taking this seriously.
I mean, my world for sure, just based on the conversations I'm having, music is definitely the next thing I'm seeing a lot of. We had tried to engage music labels 5-6 months ago. GAIA was originally supposed to be just like solely a music marketplace, and then it just became too much of an issue with licensing and whatnot. So we just kind of pivoted and focused on all the verticals in entertainment. So, but now all of a sudden, literally in the last month, all the big labels are just literally reaching right out to me to engage conversations. Like big labels, they want to make big moves, build platforms. On GAIA. So it's exciting. So I think music is definitely sort of the next thing. And then a part of that extension, I think it's like tickets to concerts in the metaverse. I think the video game stuff, everybody talks about the video game stuff. I think that's still a little ways away. It's probably maybe mid to late 2022, 23. I don't know. Everybody's talking about the gaming stuff, but I still think it's a little ways away. And then, I mean, in terms of like where things are really exciting, like we've been talking to a major global auto manufacturer, and they really want to use NFTs beyond just, leveraging their artistic and creative assets, like cool posters in their cars and things like that. But they want to like think about like big world applications. Like, how can I use an NFT to have my car service records on the blockchain so that, you know, when you buy a used car, you could get an NFT and you already know. You don't have to be searching for the records of, you know, of when they got their car serviced. Because that's the great thing about the blockchain. It doesn't lie. You can't hide any secrets there. So it's, you know, you're fully exposed. So
yeah,
I think
100%.
that's like, that's one of the things. And I think, you know, think about in the real estate world, like when you're like trying to like buy a house and trying to figure out the, you know, title to your house. It's such a, at least in America, it's an expensive, clunky, very like long process. Whereas if it was on the like an NFT and blockchain, it would just happen seamlessly and it wouldn't cost, you know, the cost would be like pennies. So, I mean, those are just a couple of the real world applications. I know I read an article about like oil, like suppliers, like using it for supply chain. I mean, some of this stuff is way over my head. I know one of the blockchains like Hedera Hashgraph has like big enterprise solutions. Like I said before, I talked to somebody at Amazon Wireless Services. They're building out the backends for like Christie's and their marketplace. And I mean, once those see this, now that they're involved, like now like things are going to start to accelerate because they're going to come up with like just crazy, wicked smart solutions. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I actually read something about how companies like Alibaba, for instance, is fighting copies and stuff like that, and just you know, they're using blockchain and NFTs. They're going to use, at least from what I read, to certify that a product is original and it has that certification of originality when sold online. And of course, as a non-fungible token, that's exactly, you know, the kind of application that you have, and it's really exciting. It really is.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, John. I wish we could actually just keep talking because I feel like we could talk for ages, but we'll have to get you on the show again because I know you're working on some exciting projects. But thank you so much for making the time to join us today. We'll put all the links to your socials in the show notes, and definitely give John a follow on LinkedIn. His content is amazing. I get so much value from all of your posts. So thank you so much for making the time, and we look forward to chatting again in the future.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.